Many people think the difference between those who grow, realizing goals, advancing careers, strengthening relationships, and those who don't comes down to talent, luck, or circumstance. That's a narrative, isn't it? And it's not very useful if you want to grow on purpose. There are aspects of talent, luck, or circumstance, but none of these is up to us. We need to look to what's in our power. The difference is actually as simple as a single deliberate choice made in a single moment. Often that choice is most important when you're dealing with adversity and challenge. Since our brains are naturally inclined to finding problems and difficulties, you make this choice far more often than you realize. There's your opportunity. Hey there, it's me, Core, and you're listening to Exercising Self-Control from Fitness to Flourishing. The deliberate choice that matters isn't some grand decision made once and for all. It's the small choices you make in ordinary moments. The moments when difficulty shows up and you have to decide what's happened and what you'll do about it. Let's look at some examples. You're in the middle of a workout. You're doing an exercise you've done before, but you're having an off day. The weight feels heavier. You failed to hit the rep targets you achieved last time. In that moment, you have a choice. The trauma narrative. My body has let me down. I'm getting weaker. This proves I can't do this. The stoic strength narrative. My body gave me some information. This is where I need to adjust. Maybe it's my recovery, my nutrition, or the workout itself. This is material I can work with. Notice the difference. Both narratives acknowledge the same event, but one jumps to a conclusion, probably consistent with past narratives of failure, and shuts down any further inquiry. The other pauses before making a definite conclusion and ponders possibilities. One says the difficulty defines your capacity. The other says the difficulty is telling you something about what might need to change. Why does this matter? Because the narrative you choose in that moment determines whether you engage with the difficulty or retreat from it. And engagement is where growth happens. Here's another one. You're trying to establish better eating habits. You make a commitment to yourself about what you'll eat. Then, in a moment of stress or fatigue, you break that commitment. You eat something you said you wouldn't. You feel the weight of that choice. In that moment, you have a choice about what that breaking means. The trauma narrative, I failed, I have no self-control, I can't stick to anything. Why do I even bother? The stoic strength narrative, I made a choice that didn't align with my values. That's information. What was I thinking in that moment? What do I need to do differently next time? Again, both responses acknowledge the same event, but one spirals into shame and self-condemnation. The other turns the moment into material for understanding yourself better. Why does this matter? Because the choice you make about what your lapse means determines whether you learn from it or whether you use it as an excuse to give up entirely. What keeps you moving forward is the deliberate choice to see it as material for adaptation rather than as evidence of failure. And one more. You've committed to getting better sleep. You've set a bedtime. You've created a routine. But life happens. You get distracted. You stay up late. You wake up exhausted the next morning. In that moment, you have a choice about what that disruption means. The trauma narrative, my sleep is ruined. My recovery is shot. The whole day is lost. I might as well give up on my routine. The stoic strength narrative, I didn't get the sleep I wanted. Okay, I can still make choices today about how I move, what I eat, and when I rest. I can adjust my expectations and still move forward. Notice what's happening here. The trauma narrative treats the disruption as total failure. The Stoic strength narrative acknowledges the constraint and asks, what can I still choose to do in the circumstances as they are? Why does this matter? Because the choice you make about what the disruption means determines whether you see yourself as someone whose plans are fragile and easily destroyed, or as someone who can adapt and keep moving even when things don't go as planned. Do you see the pattern across all three? In each moment, the difficulty is real. The failure is real. The disruption is real. But the meaning you assign to it, the narrative you choose, is entirely within your power. This is where post-traumatic growth begins. Not in the absence of difficulty, but in the deliberate choice to see difficulty as material you can use for growth rather than as evidence for your inadequacy. The trauma narrative says, this happened to me. I am diminished. The Stoic strength narrative says, this happened to me. What can I learn? What can I do differently? How can I use this to become stronger? One closes doors. The other opens them. Here's what's crucial to understand. The difficulty doesn't change based on which narrative you choose. You still underperformed in your workout. You still broke your commitment. You still didn't get the sleep you needed. But the meaning you give that difficulty changes things. It changes whether you engage with it or avoid it. It changes whether you see yourself as someone capable of growth or as someone defined by your failures. It changes whether you keep moving forward or whether you give up. This is why the deliberate choice matters so much, because the choice isn't about denying the difficulty. It's about deciding what you're going to do with it, whether you're going to integrate it into your understanding of yourself and your capacity, or whether you're going to let it define you. The people who keep growing are the ones who make this choice consistently. Not perfectly, not without struggle, but consistently. They see the difficulty, they acknowledge it, and then they ask, what can I do with this? So I'm saying it again. Growth doesn't happen automatically. You have to choose to make it happen. The choice shows up in moments of small challenge, in life and death circumstances, and every difficulty in between. There is no lack of opportunities to train your Stoic strength narrative. Become skilled in this, and your whole life will change. Here's what I'd like you to do. Notice the moments when difficulty shows up in your exercise practice. A workout where you underperform, a lapse in your nutrition, a disrupted night of sleep. When it happens, pause. Don't accept any automatically generated trauma narrative. Instead, make the deliberate choice to ask, what is this telling me? What can I learn? How can I use this to become stronger? Tomorrow, we'll finish this short series with part 4. We take everything we've learned about narrative, about kintsugi and shibumi, about how your body grows through tension and progressive overload, and about the deliberate choice that makes any circumstance material for your growth. And we'll learn how this becomes the foundation for excellence in every domain of your life, from character to relationships to career and finances. The principle is the same. The application works everywhere. That's it for today. Catch you next time.